This book is a true story of real people and real places. Although names have been changed to protect the workers and the ongoing work in North Africa, this hasn't been done out of fear or a desire for safety. I absolutely believe that every true follower of Christ should be willing to give his or her life for Jesus' sake and his purposes, but to do so for the sake of a book would be a waste of a precious life. Writing this book has been an extremely vulnerable experience for me. I was against the idea in the beginning. Though my journey with the Lord has been a rich one full of blessing, I just wasn't sure I wanted to relive the most difficult and painful parts of my life. Eventually, I felt prompted by the Holy Spirit to give an account of our experiences and ultimately of God's faithfulness. My family has learned much about the nature and character of God through scary and uncertain times living in a 100% Muslim country, and also through the fun, exciting, and blessed times of discovering the beauty behind the facade of the Islamic reputation. Through ups and downs, sickness and health, dangers and security, the sum of our experiences recounted in this book is God's faithfulness. I hope this story will shed light on the realities of taking the risk of living cross-culturally as a family in an Islamic context, and I hope the reader will find faith and inspiration through my family's journey, and perhaps even find some wisdom in what not to do. It was a 7-year learning curve for us to grow in our understanding of what goes on in the minds of our Muslim friends. Most of all, I want the truth to be told. Truth that culture and our Western fears have modified for the sake of safety. May God break our hearts for those his heart breaks for. Emily Foreman. Prologue. The Butcher. June 25th, 2010. The old gated mosque stood deserted, its beautiful slender minaret piercing the vast blue desert sky. The faithful followers who had come to the mosque for their early morning prayers had returned home. As the wind picked up, dust began rolling in from the distant dunes, creating whirlwinds of trash from the market street. Most of the businesses were quiet. No one had yet opened the doors of their clothing boutiques or set up their phone credit stands. All was quiet, except for the sounds of rusty old taxis in the distance and the barking of stray dogs. A few goats moseyed about the mostly empty dirt streets, picking through the trash for something edible. As usual, the butcher was one of the few people out this time of day. After the morning call to prayer, he had gone straight to his stand and began sorting through the bloody, fly-covered carcasses of the 2 goats he had slaughtered earlier. He hoped it would be Allah's will that he'd sell enough meat to provide for his wife and 5 children today. As he began sharpening his carving knife, the butcher absently noticed the lone red car still parked on the other side of the dirt street. It had been there since dawn, when everyone had come for prayers. He heard the familiar rumbling of a truck as it pulled up outside the training center across the street. The tall American, Stephen Foreman, climbed out and walked around to the passenger door to retrieve his things. He greeted the butcher with his usual friendly grin, shouting, "Assalamu alaikum," across the street. The butcher was always struck by the kindness of this American, who treated him with as much respect as he did those of the upper class. He smiled back and waved. "Wa alaikum assalam." It was 8:20 a.m. Stephen was always early, the first to arrive at the center. The doors on the red carpet opened. 2 young men emerged and walked toward Stephen. The butcher paused as the 3 began talking back and forth, their voices getting louder, the conversation becoming heated. Then the 2 young men grabbed the American by the arms and tried to pull him toward their car. Stephen resisted and overpowered the first man, holding him to the ground with his foot while struggling with the second man. Another man emerged from the red car to help in the attempt to overcome the American. The butcher saw the danger and began to run to Stephen's aid. But before he could take 3 steps, he stopped, frozen in his tracks by the sound echoing between the cement walls of the mosque and the training center. Pop! Pop! Pop!